When people talk about attraction, they often imagine grand gestures, expensive gifts, or dramatic confessions of love. But in reality, what makes someone addicted to you is often something far more subtle and playful. It's the little moments of unexpected fun that light a spark in his mind and make him think about you long after you've left the room. See, most relationships and interactions fall into a predictable rhythm. Two people get comfortable, conversations become routine, the energy settles, and everything becomes a little too safe. And while safety and comfort are important, what really keeps someone addicted is that jolt of surprise, that moment when you shift gears and break the pattern in a way that makes him smile, laugh, or lean in with curiosity. That's the power of unexpected playfulness. Think about it. When was the last time you were around someone who completely caught you off guard in a fun, cheeky way? It immediately changed your mood, didn't it? It pulled you out of whatever you were thinking about and placed you right in the present moment. That's exactly what happens when you add an element of mischief into your connection with him. It doesn't have to be big, and it certainly doesn't have to be over the top. Sometimes it's as simple as a playful remark when he least expects it, a little tease that makes him raise his eyebrow and laugh, or even a look that communicates more than words ever could. These tiny surprises shake him awake. They remind him that being around you isn't predictable, and they make him feel excited to see what you'll do next. A lot of people underestimate how important this is. They believe attraction is about perfection, looking flawless, saying the right thing, always being agreeable. But perfection is forgettable. What's unforgettable is when you make someone feel, and unexpected playfulness makes him feel alive. It injects energy into the moment. Imagine he's telling you a story about something he's proud of, and instead of just nodding along, you lean in and say, "Whoa, I don't know if I should be impressed or slightly worried about you now." That kind of cheeky interruption makes him laugh, but more importantly, it makes him pay closer attention to you. You've broken the script, and suddenly he's locked into the moment with you. Here's why this works so powerfully. People crave contrast. When life feels heavy, serious, or monotonous, the person who can bring lightness becomes magnetic. If every conversation is predictable, it fades into the background of his mind. But when you sprinkle in moments of surprise, it sticks. He'll find himself replaying that one cheeky thing you said, smiling about it when he's alone, and realizing that being around you feels different, and different is addictive. Now, let's be clear, playfulness doesn't mean acting childish or never taking anything seriously. It's about knowing when to turn the dial up, when to bring in that unexpected spark that shifts the energy. It's about balance. If you're warm and caring most of the time, then that sudden mischievous look or flirty tease stands out even more. It's like adding spice to a meal. It doesn't replace the substance. It enhances it. And the beautiful part is, this isn't about being someone you're not. It's not about learning lines or memorizing tricks. It's about giving yourself permission to be spontaneous, to follow your impulses, to stop holding back that cheeky thought that crosses your mind. Because the truth is, men don't become addicted to perfection. They become addicted to authenticity wrapped in unpredictability. That combination makes them feel they're with someone who has depth, someone who's confident enough to stir things up and bold enough to enjoy the moment without worrying too much about being judged. When you bring unexpected playfulness into a connection, you not only make him laugh and lean in, you also show him something rare, that you can shift his state. You can take him from serious to playful, from distracted to present, from flat to alive. And once someone experiences that with you, they begin to crave it, because you're not just another person in their life. You become the source of energy they can't quite find anywhere else. And that, more than anything, is what makes a man truly addicted. Confidence is one of those qualities that everyone talks about, but very few truly understand in the context of attraction. When it comes to making someone not just notice you, but become addicted to your presence, confidence isn't just about walking tall or speaking clearly. It's about the way you carry yourself in those playful, intimate, and even vulnerable moments. It's about showing that you believe in your own value so deeply that you don't need to force anything. And that self-assurance is what makes him lean in closer every time. Think about it this way: playfulness without confidence can feel forced, even awkward. But when you deliver that playful tease, that cheeky look, or that mischievous remark with the full energy of someone who knows her worth, it lands in an entirely different way. He doesn't just laugh at what you said. He feels the magnetism behind it, because confidence communicates one powerful message: I'm not afraid to be me. And that's intoxicating. Men don't get addicted to someone who is always trying to please, who laughs at every joke, whether it's funny or not, or who agrees with everything just to avoid friction. They get addicted to the woman who knows she has something special to bring, who can playfully challenge him without fear that he might not like her for it, and who shows up as herself without apology. That level of self-assurance creates a dynamic where he feels he has to earn more of your attention, and that chase, that sense of curiosity, keeps his mind locked on you. Picture a moment where he's trying to impress you, maybe showing off a little about something he's good at. A woman without confidence might simply nod, smile, and shower him with validation. But a woman with confidence knows that her value doesn't depend on whether she's endlessly impressed. Instead, she might respond with a playful smirk and say, "Not bad, but I'll be really impressed when you can do it with your eyes closed." That tiny, teasing challenge communicates not just wit, but self-assurance. It says, "I'm not afraid to play with you because I know where I stand," and that sends a rush of excitement through him. Confidence is also what allows you to create boundaries while still being magnetic. It's easy to think that keeping him addicted means giving him everything he wants right away, but in reality, the opposite is true. When you confidently decide when to engage, when to flirt, when to reward him with your affection, and when to pull back just enough to leave him wanting more, he sees that you're not desperate for his attention. And ironically, that makes him crave it even more. Confidence is the invisible line that separates playfulness from neediness, teasing from insecurity. Without it, the game falls flat. With it, every interaction feels electric. And let's be real, confidence doesn't mean you never feel nervous or insecure. It means you don't let those feelings dictate how you show up. It means you can still deliver that playful joke, even if your heart is racing, because you trust that who you are is enough. It's that quiet belief in yourself that allows you to take risks in conversation, to flirt without fear, to be a little naughty without worrying if you've gone too far. And it's exactly those risks that make him addicted, because they show him you're alive, authentic, and fully engaged in the moment. The truth is, a man can meet hundreds of women who are beautiful, kind, or agreeable. But what he doesn't often encounter is a woman who radiates confidence in such a way that every interaction feels like a spark. When you mix that confidence with playfulness, you create an irresistible cocktail. He feels drawn to you not because you're trying to hold his attention, but because your self-assurance naturally demands it. That's why confidence isn't just part of the attraction. It's the fuel that makes the naughty trick work. Without it, the spark fizzles. With it, he doesn't just enjoy being around you. He becomes addicted to it. There's something incredibly powerful about the art of the tease, and yet it's often misunderstood. People think teasing is about being cruel, withholding, or playing games, but that couldn't be further from the truth. The real magic of a tease lies in suggestion, in creating just enough intrigue to spark his imagination, without ever giving away the full picture. It's that delicate balance between showing interest and holding back between letting him taste something exciting and keeping him hungry for more. And when done with a playful, confident spirit, this kind of naughty tease becomes the fuel that keeps him coming back again and again. Think about anticipation for a moment. Why is it that sometimes the build up to something feels even more exciting than the thing itself? Because anticipation taps into curiosity, into imagination, into desire. A well-placed tease does exactly that. It doesn't just give him what he wants in the moment. It makes him crave what might be coming next. And that craving, that hunger, is what creates addiction. Let's say you're in the middle of a light-hearted conversation. He makes a flirty comment, and instead of immediately reciprocating, you smile, tilt your head, and say, "Careful, keep talking like that, and you might not be able to handle me." You're not giving him everything, just a playful hint, a spark that makes him wonder, what does she mean by that? What would happen if I did keep talking like that? That tiny remark plants a seed in his mind and it grows. The moment has passed, but his imagination lingers on it, replaying it later, making him feel like he has to come back for more. The tease works because it introduces tension, and tension is the lifeblood of attraction. If every interaction is smooth, predictable, and overly polite, it starts to feel flat. But when you add a subtle layer of mischief, when you playfully push him away 1 second and pull him back the next, it creates an emotional roller coaster that keeps him hooked. He never feels like he's fully won, and that sense of incompleteness drives him to try harder, to engage more, to chase more. Now, here's where people sometimes get it wrong. Teasing should never feel mean-spirited or disrespectful. The power of the naughty tease is that it comes from a place of warmth and play. You're not shutting him down, you're inviting him into the game. Your smile, your tone, your body language, they all tell him you're enjoying this dance just as much as he is. That's why it's addictive. Because it's not just about withholding, it's about inviting him into a space of imagination, where he doesn't know what's coming next, but he knows he wants to find out. And it doesn't always have to be verbal. Sometimes the most powerful teases are non-verbal. The way you hold eye contact for a second longer than usual before looking away, the way you brush past him casually but deliberately, the way you laugh at something he says while biting your lip just slightly. These subtle cues ignite his senses in a way that words never could. They create a moment that feels loaded, charged, and unforgettable. The truth is, humans are wired to want what feels just out of reach. It's not about manipulation. It's about creating excitement. By hinting instead of handing everything over, by suggesting instead of stating outright, you make the experience richer, more thrilling. And in the process, you become the source of that thrill in his life. He starts associating you with those feelings of excitement, curiosity, and anticipation. And once someone connects you with that kind of energy, they don't want to let it go. So when you think of teasing, don't think of it as withholding or playing cold. Think of it as leaving little breadcrumbs of excitement, little moments of suggestion that spark his imagination. You don't need to perform or force it. You just need to lean into the playful, mischievous side of yourself and trust that hinting is often more powerful than revealing, because it's not the full picture that makes him addicted. It's the mystery, the tension, and the thrill of wondering what's around the corner. And when you master that, you don't just capture his attention, you own his desire. Attraction isn't built on comfort alone, it's built on the ability to stir emotions. When every interaction feels flat, predictable, or one note, it doesn't matter how much initial chemistry there was, it fades. What really makes someone addicted is when you create a roller coaster of emotions, when you can shift the energy from warm and sweet to playful and mischievous, from teasing to affectionate, and back again. This emotional variety is what keeps him guessing, what makes him lean forward, wondering what version of you he's going to get next. And it's that unpredictability that keeps the connection alive. Imagine for a moment you're watching a movie where nothing happens. The characters never face conflict, never feel tension, never experience highs or lows. Even if the story is well shot, you'd get bored within minutes. The same thing applies to relationships. If all you ever give him is warmth, always available, always sweet, always agreeable, he quickly feels like he knows the whole story. And when a man thinks he knows the ending, he stops investing his attention. But when you introduce playful tension, when you mix your kindness with a spark of mischief, you create contrast. And contrast is what makes moments memorable. This doesn't mean playing games or being manipulative. It's not about pushing someone away to pull them back just for the sake of it. It's about allowing the full spectrum of your personality to show. If he compliments you, and you sometimes respond with a playful tease instead of a shy thank you, you've instantly changed the dynamic. You've taken the interaction from flat to alive. If he expects you to laugh at his joke, but you roll your eyes with a smile and say, "That's the best you've got," you've flipped the energy and made it fun. In those moments, he feels both challenged and intrigued, and that little spark of unpredictability becomes addictive. The emotional roller coaster works because it taps into the psychology of desire. People don't become hooked on what they always get, they become hooked on what they can't fully predict. One moment you're affectionate, making him feel safe and appreciated, and the next moment you're playfully pulling away, leaving him chasing for more. That tension keeps his attention glued to you because he never feels he's fully figured you out. And that mystery is intoxicating. Think about it. If you're always sweet, you risk being seen as safe but forgettable. If you're always sassy, you risk being seen as entertaining but distant. But when you blend both, when you know how to melt him with your warmth and then suddenly spark his senses with your playful side, you create an experience he can't get anywhere else. He feels both comfortable and excited, and that combination is rare. It makes him feel alive around you, and being alive is addictive. The key here is intention. The roller coaster effect isn't about drama or creating chaos. It's not about hot and cold behavior that leaves someone feeling insecure. It's about emotional variety that makes interactions rich. When he knows you can be fun and mischievous, but also soft and caring, he feels like every moment with you has layers. He never feels bored because you're not one-dimensional. You're real, dynamic, and full of contrasts. And people don't become addicted to flat lines. They become addicted to peaks and valleys. At the heart of it, what you're really doing is making him feel. You're taking him out of autopilot and pulling him into the present. You're reminding him that attraction isn't just about words, it's about energy, the shift from a playful tease that makes his heart race to a tender look that makes it soften again. Those shifts create the kind of experiences that live in his memory. He'll find himself thinking about you later, not because of one specific thing you said, but because of how alive you made him feel. And once he associates you with that feeling, with the thrill of never knowing exactly what's coming, but always knowing it's going to be exciting, he doesn't just enjoy being around you, he craves it. That's the roller coaster effect. It's what takes a spark of attraction and turns it into an addiction. When it comes to attraction, one of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking that teasing or being playful is enough on its own. They think if they just keep things light and mischievous, that will hold his attention forever. But here's the truth. Teasing without balance eventually feels empty. What actually makes him addicted is the combination, the push of playful teasing followed by the pull of genuine affection. It's that back and forth, that rhythm of challenge and reward, that keeps him fully invested and craving more of you. Imagine for a second that you're playing a game where every time he makes an effort, you only tease him and never let him win. Eventually, he'd grow frustrated and walk away. On the flip side, if you always give in easily, always reward without a little challenge, the game becomes boring. The sweet spot is in knowing when to playfully keep him on his toes, and then, at just the right moment, showing your warmth, your softness, your appreciation. That reward doesn't have to be physical. It can be your genuine laughter, your affectionate smile, your hand on his arm, or even a sincere compliment. The point is, you create contrast. He doesn't just get the tease, he gets the sweetness that follows, and that mixture is what keeps him hooked. Think about how children get excited when they play games. They don't stay interested in a toy that does the same thing every time. They love the unpredictability, the effort of chasing, the suspense of not knowing, and the thrill of finally winning a little reward. Adults aren't so different. In relationships, men crave that same sense of excitement, that dance of effort and reward. When you tease him playfully and then reward him with your affection, you're giving him exactly that experience. You're keeping the game alive, and the prize, your attention and your warmth, feels even more valuable because it wasn't handed over without effort. Here's an example. Let's say he's trying to be flirty, leaning in with a cheeky line. Instead of instantly giving him the validation he's fishing for, you laugh, roll your eyes, and give him a playful shove on the shoulder. For a moment, he feels the challenge, but then right after, you flash him a genuine smile and say, "But I do love how hard you try." That little shift from tease to affection makes his heart race. He feels both the fun of the chase and the satisfaction of winning your attention. That's the addictive part. He never knows exactly when you'll tease or when you'll reward, but he knows he wants more of it. The psychology behind this is simple: people value what they earn. If you make him work a little for your affection, it feels special when he gets it. If you always give it away without any spark of challenge, it becomes ordinary. But when he feels that he's earned those moments of closeness after playful tension, the connection feels electric. He doesn't just take it for granted, he treasures it. And the reward doesn't have to be grand. It can be as subtle as holding his gaze a second longer, laughing at his joke after teasing him first, or sending a quick affectionate message after leaving him hanging earlier. The smallest gestures of warmth feel magnified when they're given after a moment of playful challenge. That contrast is what burns the memory of you into his mind. He walks away not just remembering the joke or the tease, but the way you made him feel when you finally let him in. So many people get stuck at one end of the spectrum. They either give too much too quickly, or they withhold so much that the other person loses interest. The secret is in the balance. When you tease him, you light the spark. When you reward him afterward, you fan the flame. Together they create a rhythm that keeps him leaning in, wondering what's next, and feeling like every interaction with you is alive with energy. That's what makes you unforgettable. And when he associates you with that feeling, with the fun of the chase followed by the sweetness of connection, he doesn't just enjoy being around you, he becomes addicted to it. Because in a world full of predictable interactions, you've given him something rare: excitement mixed with intimacy, challenge mixed with comfort. And that's the perfect recipe for making him want more of you, over and over again. What truly separates a moment that fades from memory and a moment that lingers in someone's mind is how it ends. You can spend hours together, you can laugh, flirt, tease, and even share something deep, but if you give everything away all at once, if you leave no mystery, no spark, no curiosity, then as soon as the moment is over, so is the pull. What makes a man truly addicted is when you know how to leave him wanting more. It's the art of ending interactions on a high note with just enough energy, intrigue, or affection that he finds himself replaying it later, wishing it had lasted longer. Think about the last time you watched a TV show that ended an episode on a cliffhanger. Even if you weren't planning to, you suddenly felt the urge to watch the next episode. Why? Because they didn't resolve everything. They left you curious, hooked, leaning forward. The same principle applies to human connection. If every time you're together, you give away the full story, every emotion, every secret, every ounce of affection, he may enjoy it in the moment, but afterwards there's nothing left for his imagination to hold on to. But if you cut the interaction just slightly shorter than expected, if you add a spark at the end, a cheeky remark, a lingering smile, a playful touch, you plant a seed in his mind that grows the moment you leave. It could be as simple as ending a conversation with, "I'll tell you the rest another time," or leaving him with a mischievous grin right before you walk away. It could be sending one flirty message and then disappearing for the night instead of carrying on the whole conversation. These aren't games. They're ways of keeping the energy alive, of leaving space for desire to build. When you hold back just enough, you give him a reason to chase, to think, to crave. And craving is the beginning of addiction. The beauty of leaving him wanting more is that it doesn't take effort. It takes awareness. Most people overstay their welcome in conversations, stretching them until they run dry. They keep texting until the energy fizzles out. They hang around until the magic of the moment fades. But the most magnetic people know when to stop. They know when to step away while the spark is still alive. Because when you end on a high, that high stays with him. He doesn't remember the drag of the conversation. He remembers the moment you left him smiling, laughing, or wondering what you meant. And this doesn't just work in playful moments. It works in intimacy, in affection, in deeper conversations. If you leave him with a story unfinished, a joke half told, a glance that says more than words, you create a loop in his mind that he can't close. He'll think about it later. He'll wonder. He'll want to come back and finish what was started. That's how you stay on his mind long after you're gone. The truth is, addiction isn't built in the middle of a moment. It's built in the space after. It's in the hours when he's alone, thinking about the way you laughed, the way you teased, the way you ended things just when it was getting good. That lingering curiosity makes him lean forward into the next interaction. And when every time with you ends with that feeling, he begins to crave it like a habit. So don't be afraid to hold back a little, to walk away while the spark is still alive. Let him wonder. Let him miss you. Let him feel that small ache of not having enough, because it's in that space between what you gave him and what he still wants that desire grows. And once he connects you with that feeling, once he knows that every time he's with you, he'll be left hungry for more, you're no longer just someone he enjoys spending time with. You become someone he can't stop thinking about. That's the final layer of the naughty trick. It's not just about how you tease, how you play, or how you reward. It's about knowing when to step back, leaving behind just enough mystery that he's already counting the minutes until he sees you again. And that is how you make him addicted.